And the winner is Michael Jackson.
Thriller, Michael Jackson. Thriller, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Before Thriller, Michael Jackson was already a star. Off the Wall had been a commercial and critical hit, with 4 top 10 singles and over 10 million copies sold. By all industry standards, he had arrived. But Michael didn't feel like a star. He felt invisible. At the 1980 Grammys, Off the Wall was snubbed, just one major award. And to Michael, that wasn't just a loss. It was a message. A message that no matter how brilliant, how original, how groundbreaking he was, he'd always be boxed in. Just another pop act. Just another black artist. He was crushed. In interviews, he didn't hide the hurt. It was a slap in the face. It hurt me so bad. It was totally unfair. But instead of folding, Michael turned that pain into fuel. Quietly, obsessively, he started planning something bigger. Something that couldn't be ignored. Something that would make everyone listen. He told his manager, his producers, anyone who would listen, "I want this to be the biggest-selling album ever." It sounded impossible. No black artist had ever crossed that threshold. The charts were still segregated, radio stations still divided by race and genre. But Michael wasn't interested in limits. He wanted to tear them all down. He became relentless. He studied sound, visuals, marketing, choreography. He watched movies obsessively, pulling inspiration from horror, fantasy, Broadway musicals. He wasn't just writing songs, he was designing an experience. And he wasn't afraid to push everyone around him. Engineers, producers, dancers, even Quincy Jones. He'd record 30 takes of a single line. He'd rehearse one dance move for days. Every breath, every beat, had to be perfect. Michael wasn't trying to make a good album. He was trying to make history. And he knew that meant rewriting every rule the industry had. To change music forever, Michael had to change how it sounded. And he wasn't interested in fitting into a category. He wanted to build his own universe. The plan? Take every genre he loved, every sound that moved him, and fuse them into something the world had never heard before. And to do it, he teamed up again with Quincy Jones, the only producer who could match his ambition. What they created was radical. Thriller didn't just dip into genres. It obliterated the lines between them. The album opens with Wanna Be Startin' Somethin', a 6-minute explosion of funk, Afrobeat, and paranoia. The lyrics are cryptic. The rhythm is relentless. The energy? Unstoppable. Then comes Beat It, a track that almost didn't happen. Michael had a vision, bring a hard rock edge to a pop song. And not just any rock. He wanted fire. He wanted danger. So Quincy called up Eddie Van Halen. The result? A searing, unforgettable guitar solo that turned Beat It into a crossover monster. A black artist collaborating with a white rock god in 1982? That didn't just break the rules. It scared the industry. But Michael didn't flinch. He welcomed the controversy, and turned it into power. Then there was Billie Jean. Built on a hypnotic bassline and haunted lyrics, it was like nothing on the radio. Michael insisted on mixing it 91 times. Not to fix it, but to get it exactly right. Every breath, every cymbal hit, every whisper of reverb, it was placed with surgical precision. Because to Michael, Billie Jean wasn't just a song. It was a statement. A warning. A trapdoor into something darker. Even the ballads, like Human Nature, weren't traditional. They were ethereal, fragile, futuristic. And then came the title track, Thriller. Part disco. Part horror movie. Part Broadway. With a spoken-word cameo by Vincent Price that turned a Halloween gimmick into a cultural anthem. But it wasn't just the variety that made Thriller revolutionary, it was the intention. Michael didn't want a few radio hits. He wanted every single track to be unforgettable. To live on dance floors, movie trailers, and playlists for generations. And somehow, he did it. Every track on Thriller still pulses with urgency. It doesn't sound like the 80s. It sounds like now. Before Thriller, music videos were just commercials, low-budget promo clips designed to sell singles. Most were forgettable, and MTV? Still figuring itself out. But Michael Jackson looked at the medium and saw something totally different. A stage. A canvas. A revolution waiting to happen. He didn't want to make music videos. He wanted to make cinema. And that's exactly what he did. The Thriller music video wasn't just a video, it was a 14-minute, big-budget horror short, directed by an American werewolf in London's John Landis. It had a script, choreography, special effects, and a full film crew. The budget? Over $500,000. At the time, that was insane. No one was spending that kind of money on a music video. Labels thought it was a waste. MTV thought it was a gamble. Michael didn't care. He knew what he was doing. He was creating something unforgettable. Zombies, werewolves, graveyards. This was pop culture colliding with pure theater. And in the middle of it all? Michael, in that iconic red jacket, moonwalking through the madness with absolute control. When the video dropped, it stopped time. People didn't just watch it. They scheduled their night around it. It aired in prime time. It sold out theaters. It was the first music video to be treated like an event. And suddenly, everything changed. Music videos weren't filler anymore. They were front page. Artists couldn't just stand in front of a camera and sing. Now they had to perform. Tell stories. Build worlds. Michael had raised the bar so high, most artists couldn't even see it. And the craziest part? This was just one video. From an album that had several. Billie Jean turned sidewalks into light shows. Beat It staged a West Side Story-style gang showdown. Thriller created a whole new genre, the music video spectacle. From that moment on, videos became essential. Labels increased budgets. Directors became celebrities. MTV's identity transformed overnight. Michael didn't just dominate the music video space. He invented what we now expect from it. In the early 80s, MTV was white. Not officially, but undeniably. Rock acts, new wave bands, and synth-pop groups filled the rotation. Black artists. Practically invisible. Not because the talent wasn't there, but because the gatekeepers didn't think black music fit the format. It was coded language. And it sent a message: if you're not white and playing guitars, you don't belong here. Michael Jackson shattered that idea. But it wasn't easy. When Billie Jean was released in 1983, CBS Records pushed MTV to air the video. MTV refused. They didn't think it would resonate with their audience. That's when CBS president Walter Yetnikoff stepped in, and he didn't play nice. He threatened to pull every CBS artist from the network unless they aired Billie Jean. No more Springsteen. No more Billy Joel. No more hitmakers. Period. MTV caved. And the moment Billie Jean hit the screen, everything changed. It wasn't just the song, it was the style. The fedora. The glove. The moonwalk. The sidewalk lighting up with every step. Michael didn't just appear on MTV. He took it over. Within weeks, viewership exploded. Young fans, black, white, everyone, couldn't get enough. MTV realized what they had been missing: the biggest artist in the world. And it wasn't long before Beat It and Thriller followed, each one a mini blockbuster. Each one more popular than the last. Michael didn't ask for inclusion, he forced it. And in doing so, he kicked open the door for a generation of black artists who had been locked out. Prince. Whitney. Janet. LL Cool J. Their paths to MTV were paved by Thriller. But it wasn't just about airtime. It was about legitimacy. Before Michael, black artists had to fight for scraps. After Thriller, they were front and center. Headlining. Dominating charts. Selling out arenas. And MTV? It became what it was always meant to be, a reflection of all of pop culture, not just one piece of it. Michael Jackson didn't just make the system work for him, he rewired it. And he didn't do it with protests or press releases. He did it with art so powerful, so undeniable, that even the most closed doors had no choice but to swing wide open. When Thriller dropped in late 1982, no one, not even Michael, could have predicted what was about to happen. At first, the album rose steadily. Then Billie Jean exploded. Then Beat It. Then the Thriller video dropped. And suddenly, the album wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon. It wasn't climbing the charts, it was owning them. Let's talk numbers, because this is where things get ridiculous. Thriller became the first album in history to produce 7 top 10 singles. It stayed in the Billboard Top 10 for 80 consecutive weeks, a year and a half. It topped the Billboard 200 for 37 weeks. And globally, it sold over 70 million copies, officially the best-selling album of all time. But this wasn't just about sales. It was about reach. Everywhere you went, Thriller was playing. Radio, malls, schools, car stereos, weddings, clubs, sports arenas. Even people who didn't own the album knew every word. And it wasn't just dominating the pop charts. It crossed over into every demographic. Kids loved it. Adults loved it. Rock fans respected it. R&B fans owned it. Even critics who had previously dismissed Michael as a teen pop act had to admit it. Thriller was untouchable. The album even made it into the Guinness Book of World Records, multiple times. It swept the 1984 Grammys, taking home 8 awards in one night. That kind of sweep was unheard of. Michael didn't just win awards. He rewrote the record books. It got to a point where the industry had to create new categories just to separate Thriller from everyone else. It was the gold standard, and everyone else was just playing catch-up. But here's what made it truly revolutionary. Thriller wasn't a trend. It didn't ride a wave, it created one. And then it became the tide that carried all of pop culture forward. It redefined success. After Thriller, the question wasn't can you make a hit album? It became, can you make a thriller? And the truth is, no one ever really has. Thriller wasn't just an album, it became a blueprint. A North Star for every artist who came after. From the moment it dropped, a new bar was set. Not just for sound, but for everything: visuals, choreography, ambition, global reach. If you were an artist in the 80s, 90s, or even today, chances are, Thriller was the album that showed you what was possible. And you can see it in the biggest names in music. Beyoncé? Her visual albums, massive stage productions, and obsession with perfection are all echoes of Thriller. Usher? His dance-heavy videos, slick production, and pop R&B hybrid style? Straight from the MJ playbook. Justin Timberlake? His solo career is basically a modern reinterpretation of what Michael built, down to the military jackets and genre fusion. The Weeknd? His cinematic videos, retro aesthetic, and dark pop storytelling feel like Thriller reimagined for a new generation. And that's just the mainstream. Michael's influence went beyond pop and R&B. He reached into rock, hip-hop, fashion, even K-pop. Artists across genres studied Thriller like it was gospel. Because Michael didn't just create music, he created moments. He showed artists that every performance, every video, every tour could be an event. Something audiences didn't just listen to, but experienced. His concerts were theatrical. His storytelling was visual. His songs weren't just catchy, they were cinematic. Before Thriller, artists dropped albums and hoped for radio play. After Thriller, albums had to come with a vision, a world, a legacy. Even today, artists are still chasing the standard he set, whether they admit it or not. And that's the thing, you don't have to sound like Michael to be influenced by him. You just have to be trying to do something bigger than the music. And no one proved that was possible better than the man behind Thriller. Some albums get old. Some fade out with time. Thriller? It just refuses to die. More than 40 years later, it's still everywhere. Every Halloween, that eerie Vincent Price laugh echoes through parties, playlists, and store speakers. Every year, Thriller climbs back into the charts, decades after its release. No marketing push. No reissue required. It just reappears. Like a ghost with a groove. And the dance? Still iconic. Entire flash mobs perform it in full zombie makeup. Toddlers try to moonwalk before they can tie their shoes. Sports teams use Beat It for hype videos. Commercials, video games, halftime shows, it's all soaked in Thriller's DNA. But the legacy isn't just in the charts or the choreography. It's in what the album proved. That pop music could be taken seriously. That a black artist could dominate every market, globally. That one record could be more than songs, it could be a cultural moment. And let's not forget, the entire music industry changed because of this album. Labels started investing in bigger video budgets, more elaborate stage shows, broader crossover marketing. Why? Because Thriller showed them what happens when you go all in. It's not just nostalgia. It's impact. Michael turned pop into performance art. He didn't follow trends, he made them irrelevant. And even today, in the age of streaming and TikTok virality, artists are still trying to figure out the formula he perfected back in 1982. Because Thriller isn't just the best-selling album of all time. It's the most important. It proved music could move the world. And it did. Thriller didn't just change music. It changed everything. How albums are made, how videos are shot, and how legends are born. If you felt that impact too, make sure to hit subscribe, because the stories behind the music are just getting started.